3 activities I decided to participate in. The first activity will be preparing the cemetery for Veterans Day. The second one will be preparing food for Thanksgiving for families who may not have the opportunity to buy food for Thanksgiving. And the third one, I will be interviewing Officer Rivera on the civic impact and importance police officers have in our community. My initial opinion on preparing the cemetery for Veterans Day is that it will be a great opportunity for me to give back to those who have lost their lives. I don't really know what to expect. I've never done this before. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm excited to do it and give back my time. My initial opinion on preparing food for Thanksgiving is that this will be a good experience and a good chance for me to help people in need in my community. I don't really know how it's going to work. I've done this event before in the past, and we have a new director this year, so there could be a change I'm very interested to see how the interview with Officer Rivera will go. I'm good friends with him, but I have never sat down and talked to him about his job and becoming a police officer and what that entails.
Hey police, I'm at Tahoma National Cemetery, preparing the cemetery for Veterans Day tomorrow.
I just got done at Tahoma National Cemetery. I think this was a great experience, giving back to the veterans and their families. I feel like it's the least I could do for what they have sacrificed. I think volunteering here is a very good idea, not just for Veterans Day, but throughout the year, because those veterans have paid the ultimate price, and those families have also paid a price as well. And I think it's important to recognize them and remember them in a good way.
It's Saturday, 8 a.m. We're at St. John the Baptist, and we're going to put food in bags for families for Thanksgiving. We're wrapping up here at St. John the Baptist. It's about 12 o'clock. This is an important event because it gives people around your community, it helps your community, it makes it a better place for people, and people deserve to have food for Thanksgiving.
Later today, I will be interviewing Officer Dave Rivera and learning about his civic duty as a police officer and the steps to become a police officer. Officer Rivera asked me to keep his face out of the video due to security concerns, so this next interview will be just audio.
So, what is your name and where do you work?
My name is Dave Rivera. I work for the City of Bellevue. I'm a commissioned police officer and have been for almost 17 years.
What is the toughest thing you have to deal with being a police officer?
I think the toughest thing that you have to deal with is are crimes against children. That's usually the toughest that hits you because of just seeing violence towards children. I mean, we are all parents, and we all think about our own children. And as you're doing the work, it's some of the calls that you go to. It's hard to let certain things go.
What is the best thing about your job?
I think the best thing about the job is serving the community and defending the rights of people, standing up for what is right in the community, because that is essentially what we do. We enforce the law of the land.
What does it take to become an officer? Did you have to go to school for it? Like, what are the steps you had to take?
Well, different departments have different requirements. So essentially, I mean, I can talk about Bellevue. So there is a college requirement. Okay, so you have to have at least an AA. The standards have become more and more strict over the years just because of what the public expects from us. Sometimes unrealistic expectations, where, typically what we like to see in applicants is to have a good background of a history of good decision making, good work ethic, a person that can manage their credit and their relationships and stay out of trouble and essentially display character, work ethic, and good morals and ethics. Okay, for during their life, But I mean, the more and more, like right now, I mean, we are hiring more and more young people straight out of college because a lot of older Americans that apply aren't able to get onto the department because they've been living life and they've made life mistakes.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. When your parents tell you, don't freaking do drugs, you can't commit felonies. You have to watch out for your good reputation and your name all the time. This is the reason why your parents tell you this, because later on in life, you want to live hard and get crazy when you're young and possibly get arrested or charged with something. Later on in life, your priorities might change. You have a family, and now you feel the calling to become a police officer or something, or serve in some capacity in the U.S. government where you would be serving you would be serving the community, but you can't do it because you can't pass the background.
Yeah.
You understand? Because you've done something in the past that's an automatic disqualifier. You have to pass a PFT, physical fitness test. So you have to have a baseline requirement that the state requires from you. Once you pass that, you get invited to an oral board. Well, there's a test too. There's a test that you go online. So there's the physical fitness portion of it, and then there's like the intelligence portion of it. Okay, so if you pass that, then you get invited to an oral board. So how many people usually when they schedule an oral board, they will invite all of the applicants that have passed those two requirements online. Okay, once you get there, then they test you, and it's a professional interview. So they ask you a battery of questions, and based on your answers, you are ranked and placed on a list. Okay, so if you're higher up on the list, they will extend a provisional job offer to you, and then you have to go through further tests. So you have to go through a psychological exam, a polygraph exam. You have a background interview battery that you have to, and they background check you for like the last 20 years of your life. I'm not kidding you. Then you get into the academy. The academy is 3 months long. So you do essentially all that pre-academy work preps you for the academy, so you don't go in like cold turkey, right? You have no idea what the hell is going on, or what they expect from you.
Yeah.
So you go in, and then it's classwork, it's defense, it's martial arts, it's shooting the gun, it's pursuit driving, you get trained up, and then you learn about how to enforce the law on the streets and not get killed. The media, especially, they are not interested in the million of good things that we do every day out on the street. All the people that we help. No, they're not interested. The only thing that interests them is when one police officer does something wrong.
What would you recommend someone who's interested in becoming a cop outside of graduating college or high school? What would you say the steps for them to do?
I would say, if you want to become a police officer and you feel the calling deep within, I would say you need to go and do it, because this country, this community needs people, Americans, that want to be police officers. And these people that apply and thought it would be quote unquote cool to be a police officer. Oh yeah, it's cool to wear the uniform and strap on the gun and the badge. Yeah, it's cool. Until they get out there and actually see what the job is about. Dealing with people in crisis, dealing with the homeless, okay? Dealing with people that have drug and addiction problems, dealing with people that are, for lack of a better word, just evil and like to victimize other people. They get a taste of that and they don't last. Maintain your physical fitness. I can't tell you how many applicants, good applicants that apply, cannot pass the physical fitness requirements. The workouts now have to be centered around, so they're core centralized, because you're carrying around 50 pounds of gear every day. 12 to 15 hours a day sometimes.
Yeah.
It takes its toll on you.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, physical fitness so important. Maintaining your health so important. You know, because that's kind of what they look at. You know, they look at your decision making, they look at your education, they look at the kind of life that you've led. There are always consequences to your choices, and that's what it comes down to. You might not, the consequences may not be right in front of you. 10 years down the line,
They might show up.
I should not have done that. I used to be a background for the department. I can't tell you how many people I've disqualified where I just wanted to hire them because they've grown. They're a different person. Yeah, you made mistakes 10 years ago back in college. You know, maybe you did some cocaine, maybe you smoked some, maybe you hit the meth pipe and you didn't get addicted and you haven't done it since then.
Yeah.
But dude, I can't hire you.
Yeah.
I can't hire you.
Thank you. I think we're done. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Just got back from interviewing Officer Rivera, and I think it was great to hear everything he had to say from an officer's perspective. It was eye-opening to me to hear that everything you do follows you, and the consequences may not show up right away, but somewhere down the line they might show up when you go to apply for a job. I think the impact on the community is obvious with him being a police officer and what he does for the community. As I wrap up this civic engagement project, the 3 events that I did were: first, I prepared the cemetery for Veterans Day. Second, I packed food for families for Thanksgiving. And third, I interviewed Officer Rivera on his civic impact on the community. Preparing the cemetery for Veterans Day was a great experience. It not only helped the employees that work at the cemetery, but it's a way of showing respect towards those who have fallen for our freedom. The civic impact on preparing food for Thanksgiving for those families who may not have the opportunity to buy their own food for Thanksgiving is great, because if you may have seen in the video, we fed a lot of families, and with all that food, it is one thing taken off their shoulders that they don't have to worry about. Talking to Officer Rivera opened the door for him to teach us his civic impact on the community as a police officer. Overall, I thought this project was successful. I learned something, I helped families, and I gave something back to the community, which I think was the entire point in this project.